Welcome to the Whirlpool Gold Cup race meeting, and it is a panel discussion here. We've got a roundtable discussion that we will be taking you through, and it is for 5 races on the program, races 4 up until race number 8. I'm joined by Rachel Venico, who's back in the irons, and Rachel's become a familiar face on Gallop TV. We've got Dees down on as well. Good to be working alongside Dees. He's going to give us his thoughts, and joined by Warren Linferno, who is my co-host. Warren, looking forward to the race meeting. It's set to be a cracker.
It certainly is, Rahil, as the sun sets on champion season here in KwaZulu-Natal. We've got a race meeting that'll certainly get the pulse racing, and we look forward to it. And the other 2 guests to my left, Gareth van Zyl and Lucinda Woodruff, lovely to have you both with us, and we look forward to spending the next hour together.
Thank you.
Lovely. Gareth, of course, the big day around the corner, but we'll dig into that a bit more later on. But yeah, a fantastic race meeting awaits, and a fantastic panel discussion awaits too.
Yep, certainly looking forward to it. As I mentioned, 4 grade 1s to get through, and we've got 1 grade 3 that we will be getting involved in as well. Race number 4 will be the first of those grade 1s. Just before we get into the 4th race on the program, must let you know that the Equus Awards will be taking place on the 14th of August, and that will be live on Gallop TV. So if you want to catch the live coverage of that, you can watch it all on Gallop TV. Race number 4 on the program. This will be the start of the Pick 6. We do have a carryover in that Pick 6 as well, that of 1 million rand, and a likely pool of 10 million rand for the 4th race, which is the Douglas White Stakes, grade 1 over 1600 meters. These lots of talk around number 1 Golden Palm. What do you make of this filly's chances? 5 to 10?
Yeah, it looks like a horse that they're saving the best for last when it comes to Alan Creef. But you know, I just must compliment the trainer and his military precision and what he's done with these juveniles around the country. You know, traveling to Gauteng, traveling to the Western Cape, and of course here in KZN. And I'm sure Garrett and Lucinda and even Rachel will know that, you know, to plan these type of things as a trainer and to get it right the way he has, I think if he has to accomplish this and win all these juvenile features, there should be an Equus Award for him. Garrett, I mean, for somebody like Alan Creef to accomplish something that he planned back in January, to do it to these young horses, I mean, that's a master training feat, isn't it?
Unbelievable. He started off raiding Cape Town successfully with direct hit in the beginning of the year, and then to have gone to Gauteng, Turfentine for their nursery, and now twice in KZN. I haven't seen it in the short time that I've been involved in the industry, and I'm watching on with admiration.
Yeah, you know, that is it. You know, Lucinda, you got young horses in your care as well. I mean, what Alan has accomplished for a trainer in Quebec is just astonishing.
It's fantastic, and I mean, Al's a master trainer as it is, so it's lovely to see him have the support with his owners and stud farms, and he's able to train such a class of horse now.
Rachel, no ride on the day for you, and if you were to sit on one horse in the race, would it be this filly?
Absolutely. You know what I've seen of her, I've ridden against her as well. Oh, that must feel amazing to swing your leg over that, drawn in pole position. I think Richard Free's going to have a wonderful time.
Yeah. Warren, at 5 to 10 in the market, we've got a comment from one of the guys that has interacted with us over social media. He mentions that Golden Palm looks a definite and obvious Pick 6 banker, has the beating of One Fine Winter, and has run around the turn before. What do you make of that comment, and bank in your bets?
We all know that there's no such thing as a racing certainty, but it's about structuring bets, and I think punters will want to get their Pick 6s off to a skinny start. I'm all in with her, Rahil. Yeah. I think she's I know she's a very good filly. She gets gate 1, she gets Richard Fourie. I believe Mr. Moore, who's in town, will probably be at the races, so that'll be fantastic for the team. I think she's a good thing, as close as we can get to good things. I think, if you're not wanting to take odds on, you have to look for a bit of value for the exactors and for the swingers. And in my opinion, that's Jordash for me.
Dees, your thoughts behind Golden Palm?
I just want to share an embarrassing moment with all you guys out here. I was at one of the very popular restaurants in Durban, and a gentleman, waved me along, and I went up to him and we had a chat, and he was asking me about his horses, and I embarrassingly didn't know the guy, and it was Peter Moore. And he introduced himself to me, and he told me that the best is still to come from Alan Creef's stable. There's lots of confidence. He's had, as Garrett mentioned, direct hit, another dance for me, and this is their best to come. So I think that she'll be very hard to beat for me. It's regardless about the price. You mentioned it's the first leg of the pick six. She's a banker for me. When I look at the balance of the runners, numbers 2, 3, and 4 in no particular order, I think the joker of the pack could be this 20-1 shot, Tina Lovelace. Yes. It's a massive drawstring around with Samanga Kumalo up. And go and watch that replay of that last start behind another dance for me. I think she could be possibly a nice horse to include in trifectas and quartets. But yeah, all in with Golden Palm in leg 1 of the pick six.
Yeah, that's the one horse Golden Palm. Dee's mentioned number 4, Tina Lovelace. I have to agree with him. I think could be tremendous value in this race, especially from an each way perspective with Samanga Kumalo in the arms for Sean Terry. And we all know that Sean Terry comes alive on these big race days. Warren, you mentioned number 7, Jordash, as perhaps a horse to follow Golden Palm home. Apart from her, anything else from your side?
I think Alta, Capitana, and of course One Fine Winter. Sean Terry holds a strong hand. If you're not in the camp of Alan Creev's horse, then Sean Terry does hold a strong hand. Lucinda, Jordash has raced twice at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. I'm sure you would have seen her perform down there. She needed her first run back here in the province. She went the 1400. She now goes the 1600. She had a deep draw. I like her as a bit of value for the places.
I'm glad you mentioned her because for me she was the outsider I was going to add in there. I think she really impressed down in Cape Town, and she had a hopeless draw last time on July Day. So definitely one to include. And these 2-year-old races, the form can switch around quite a bit as they're growing up and maturing. And I do think One Fine Winter, she needs to definitely be included in there with Golden Palm.
As we wrap then, the fourth, your selections or your first 2 for the punters, your numbers?
Golden Palm for me is probably the biggest banker on the day, in my opinion. And One Fine Winter and Jordash.
Yeah, Gareth, yourself, what's your thoughts? Golden Palm all in?
When I look at just on paper value, the breeding of quite a few of these fillies, there's a question mark with regards to stamina. Now these young 2-year-old fillies are going the mile. There's quite a few of them who are untested, and it'll provide for interesting racing. I was a little bit concerned with the way Golden Palm raced first time round the bend over 1400, and that she's a free striding type of filly, big rangy filly she looks, who wants to use herself. And if the speed isn't on, it could be a little bit cramped for her. Richard would probably want to let her get out positively from that draw so that he's not compromised potentially, but she doesn't want to be cramped for room or for speed. And I think there's a lot of scope on pedigree and the way number 9, Charge It, won her maiden plate. I think there's a lot to come from her.
Yeah, that's number 1, Golden Palm, in race number 4 on the program. And we all seem to be in the camp of this filly, 2-year-old daughter of Master of My Fate. Alan Creef, well, can he make it a clean sweep here in KZN? He's got the grade 1, the Alan Robertson. He did win on Hollywoodbets Durbanville July Day as well, and he'll be looking to get the job done on Sunday in race number 4 with Golden Palm. We're moving along to race number 5 next up, and the 5th race on the card is set to be around over 1600 meters. This will be the Colts version of the race. It is a whirlpool moment of the day, Champion Stakes, set to get underway and 3:15. And Warren, I'm going to come to you first on your thoughts on this contest, because it does look to be quite a tricky race where we saw a few form reversals last time out in the Golden Horseshoe with Chronicle King, Tin Pan Alley taking on one another. A lot of luck is going to be needed in order for one of these 2-year-olds to grab that grade 1 success.
Yeah, and talking about different form and the way horses improve as youngsters, a horse like Soldier Boy in his second start, ran 7th, well beaten by Rolf the Rascal. And start after that, he ran an absolute cracker in the feature on Hollywoodbets Durbanville July Day. So, and coming from last, he really kicked on powerfully. So that's an interesting runner. For me, Count of Ruin, very unlucky last time, having had the privilege of bumping into Sereno Mudley at Summerfelt this morning, chatting to him about some of his horses. And Count of Ruin, very unlucky last time. And the De Kock team, Raheel, also had the privilege of being with them this morning at Summerfelt. And chatting about Jan van Goyen, very smart horse, very, very good horse in the making. It was a smart performance last time. And those are my 2, Jan van Goyen and Count of Ruin. It doesn't end there. It'd be remiss if we didn't mention Malmesbury Missile. But for me, 2 and 3, I like those 2.
These tricky race, your thoughts?
Firstly, I just want to touch on that race, the Golden Horseshoe. It'll be remiss if we don't touch on that race. I mean, that was the roughest race I've seen in a while. I mean, not we think that the Hollywoodbets Durbanville July is going to be a rough race. I mean, that race had incident after incident. And I don't know how that form line is going to hold up. there'll be a lot of hard luck stories coming out of that race. Whether Chronicle King can confirm that form, I doubt it. Because when we speak about hard luck stories, I mean, one of them is certainly Count of Ruin. I mean, this horse was severely hampered. Checked badly, switched out, stopped, and then had to run. But for the interference, I think one of the runners that would have finished in the top 3, never mind the top 4. Yeah. But there are runners that were running on in that race. The race suited some horses that were not, part of that interference that was caused, but it was a rough race. I don't know if you watched that race, Rachel, but I mean, that was not easy on the eye.
No, absolutely. It was very rough. I find a lot of these 2-year-old races can get rough. You're dealing with green horses, and I think we might have another case like that on our hands here. Looking at the way the pace will work out in the race, I think it's going to be quite a rough run race, and it's a wide open field.
Yeah.
Gareth, just touching on the interference that happened in that race, I mean, how much can you take out of a horse for their next start?
The jockey would generally look after the horse, Raheel. You would think if it's time to, call it a day if the horse is not handling things. But I've focused on Tin Pan Alley and the path he took, and you've obviously touched on Count of Ruin, and also, I mean, that's the reason why he's ahead of the betting ahead of Chronicle King. The betting tells you quite a story, and if you watch the replay and you look at those two, I mean, Simango was trying to come out. Oh, firstly, he goes wide without cover for the whole race. The horse is really racing quite freely, not in a rhythm. Down the straight, he's looking to come out. Muzi tries to close him. He manages to get Muzi open. Muzi then manages to get back at him. I don't know if this is why Muzi is suspended for the meeting or not, if it was that incident or not, but it was rough. And on Tin Pan Alley as well. So I agree that we're going to see some reversals of form, and for me that was quite an eyesore from their last encounter.
Yeah, Lucinda, you agree? It could be form reversals there?
Oh, 100%. And I think if you look at a horse like Count of Ruin, he's a massive, huge striding horse. He had a hopeless draw last time, came from the back, and when a big horse like that gets into stride and starts making up ground, to get a knock and to get taken out like that completely breaks their stride. So I thought it was a remarkable run from him, and I definitely can see him turning the tables.
Mulberry Missile, Rachel, we remiss if we didn't talk about him because there was a lot of money on him last time. He was well backed into 18-10. Ran second, well beaten by Chronicle King. Dees is of the opinion that form line's going to stutter and stammer and to try and hold up. But what do you make of Malmesbury Missile? And Dees could be quite right. I agree with him.
Absolutely. You've got to make him a runner. A bit of a tricky drawn out at 10, but, over the mile at Hollywoodbets Greyville, you can make a bit of a plan. And after his last start, there was so much talk. It's amazing how suddenly now everyone's keeping quiet. He hasn't lost any visibility. He was only beaten a length and a bit. And I think he'll be a runner here. He must be.
I'm not saying that form of that race is going to be I'm saying there's going to be a reversal of form from the horses in the order that they finish. Sure. And the two principals have to be Soldier Boy and Count of Ruin, who were hopelessly drawn and now get plum draws 1 and 2. And if you look at a horse like Soldier Boy, wow, for him to be the fastest finisher that day, he just shows that he's got a liking to the track, because I can still remember him winning first up in the manner in which he won. Beating that horse Golden Operator. We know that, what happened after that with the jockeys, etc. But I'm going to draw a line completely to his penultimate start, judge him on his last run. Maybe the interference of the other horses make him look good on paper, but if I had to pick the value in the race, it will be Count of Ruin. My numbers here in no order of preference will be 2, 1, 10, and 3. And then if you're looking for, one more runner, I've picked out this horse King Herald, because Gavin Arena doesn't just stick with horses. If he doesn't like them after 1 or 2 runs, he's not going to be just getting rides. Sure. So although this horse is poorly drawn, I've got a lot of respect for the horse.
Yeah, I've gone 10, 3, 2 and 4 in order of preference here. Malmesbury Missile, I think the mile trip will certainly suit him down to the ground, and he could turn out to be the right horse in the race. We'll need a lot of luck in running. Warren, what have you done here in race 5?
I've gone 3 Jan van Gooyen from 2 Count of Ruin, then the 10 Malmesbury Missile, and 4 Chronicle King. But Rachel, selection time and horses, your short list or your one or two to keep track on?
Well, out of order, no specific order. Number 2, Count of Ruin, 4, Chronicle King, 10, Malmesbury Missile, and then a wild card, number 8, Charming Cheetah.
Gareth, selections, play for the race?
I like Tin Pan Alley, and I think the 3-horse Jan van Gooyen needs to be respected.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Jan van Gooyen. He's a lovely colt. Lucinda, how are you playing it?
I'm in no specific order either. Count of Ruin, onto Tin Pan Alley, Malmesbury Missile has to be included there. And I also actually liked Charming Cheetah as a roughie, purely on his gold medallion form.
I'm glad you mentioned Charming Cheetah, and I was actually just before we wrapped up the 5th race to go on to the 6th race, the Mercury Sprint, to direct a question to Dees about Charming Cheetah. Yeah, you know, over-raced and hampered at a crucial stage, but he's good, Dees, Charming Cheetah.
Yeah, you know, again, the run last time out, considering the barrier position and the way the race was run, how much you can read into that. You know, that's why when I'm going to look at the race, you're going to have a look at horses that you think are going to appreciate the extra 200 meters, number one, that will have the run of the race from good draws, and those that will be coming from off the speed. And when you try and assess and try and paint a picture of the race itself, it's very difficult to know on which horses are going to be going forward, unless Samanga Kumala decides, I want to be out of trouble this time around at number 7, Tin Pan Alley. I don't want to be racing wide. I got a horse that I know will appreciate the extra distance. I can see him in front from that barrier position of 7. But the speed will determine how the horses are going to be finishing off. So, yeah, for the pick 6, my numbers will be 1, 2, 3, 7, 10, and 14. That will be with the minimum spend. What's it? 2, 4, 6 runners that I'll be including.
Okay, let's move along then to race number 6 on the program, which is the Grade 1 Mercury Sprint. It will be run over 1,200 meters at just before 4 o'clock, 15:55. And it would be remiss if we didn't start off with the lady that has a runner in the race, and a competitive race it is. So, Lucinda, Cafe Culture, you know, he's had his 2 runs in the province. How's he doing, and how's the lead-up been?
Lead-up's been perfect, actually. This was always our mission, this race, for the Durban season. We tried the mile for the first time with him. He wasn't disgraced at Grade 1 level. And yeah, he's a fantastic horse to train. He always has got a heart of a lion. And a pity about the draw, but he is a horse that likes to race handy. So hopefully Sereno, I'll leave it in his hands, he can overcome that. But I mean, for me, a huge run in this race.
Gareth, you know a horse called Asia Pambile very well, and wonderful that Hollywood, have all these horses all over the country, and they, for lack of a better word, transfer them, from province to province, trainer to trainer. In KZN, it's Duncan Howes, in the Cape, it's you. She's good, Gareth. She's very, very good, and I'm excited to see her drop back to the 1,200. Not saying that she doesn't perform over the 1,600, but I'm happy to see the step back in distance.
Yes, I think that will suit her, Warren. She's genuine. It was a pleasure and a privilege to work with her in Cape Town, and a filly that can make her presence felt. Rachel's obviously ridden her a bit and should be able to give a few insights from the saddle, but I'm in her camp.
I think we've got to touch on this horse, Tanango. He tops the betting boards at 5-2. He's been a horse that's sort of come under the radar. I say under the radar because a few months back his rating wasn't particularly where it is right now, and he was penalised for beating Gem King 2 starts back. These 14 points, and then last time out in the Golden Horse Sprint, the manner in which he quickened up that day was quite encouraging with Andrew Fortune in the irons. Punished 8 points for that, deep draw to contend with, but the type of horse that the race could be run to suit.
Now here's a horse that's got me flat-footed.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this from this horse. I mean, if there is going to be an award at the Equus Award for the most progressive horse of the season, when you just look at his rating, from an 86 to a 126 in a matter of months, this horse is absolutely flying. The Candice Bass Robertson stable, they have to be complimented on the way they've just got this horse going, and the way he won the Golden Horse Sprint, it was just hands and heels. At one stage he was never in the race, and then he was just thrown in the race. He's a horse that seems to have gears over a sprint trip, and that's his asset. So how he's going to handle Hollywoodbets Greyville, I don't know, but from the draw I know he's going to be given a chance. I must agree with Lucinda about her runner number 12, Cafe Culture, and it's an open platform, so you know, there are ladies of the turf, and Lucinda is one of them, because she had to wait until the 11th hour for Serena Woodley, which she did, because Otaninga was a doubtful starter. So thanks for that, Lucinda. You know, not many trainers would have done that, but you did that. And she waited for Serena, so, you know, he knows the horse, and she's been loyal to him. And maybe they can both be rewarded, because he's traveled to Cape Town to ride the horse. And, you know, if they're rewarded with a Group 1, I mean, that will be really something special. But the horse is not a 25-to-1 shot, and I think it has to be included in everything. So, you know, when I look at the race, this horse, Minogue, for Sean Terry, just the form that she's in, the fact that she's won a Group 1 in the South African Filly Sprint, she just keeps winning. And she'll have the run of the race from draw 1. She has to go in. I've jotted down some numbers here. We've spoken about 12 and 13. Horse number 6, Questioning. I think he's had a nice prep coming into this race. He's had 2 good looks at the track. His last start wasn't ideally drawn as well. He's now nicely drawn. And then looking past them, you know, 4 I Am Giant was a good winner last time out. You guys mentioned Asia Pambili, a horse like Buffalo Storm Cody, who was all the rage last time out. You know, he didn't run badly. He ran a good 4th. And now the list can go on over the sprint trip, but we often refer to the cream rising to the top, Rachel, in ratings over a sprint trip. You think that it could be the case on Sunday?
Yes, you know, it's always impactful. This is a very tricky race, and what I'm finding the most interesting is for a Colts race, my top selections are all fillies.
Sure.
So that is quite interesting. You know, Mia Moo, you can't take anything away from her. She's got lovely form leading up to this. I've got a feeling about her pole position. I think it will work out. Mrs. Browning, another Terry horse. She was only beaten ahead by Mia Moo. I've ridden her before. I know she's a good filly. You know, obviously she's getting on it, but now 5 years. But you know, it could be experience. If she's up to it on the day, I think she could be a runner as well. And you can't ignore the Stuart Ferry horse either. I Am Giant.
Gareth, I want to ask you about Questioning. We've got a comment, in fact, from Tony Ridgway, and he says, I predict Questioning will win his first Grade 1 on Sunday. Now, this horse has run behind what's arguably the best sprint in the country in the form of Gimme a Prince. He's run 5th in the Cape Flying. He ran 3rd in the Diadem. Dee's touched on him briefly. What type of chance do you give number 6, Questioning?
Raheel, I think Lucinda's horse Cafe Culture has him held, as do others. So I would beg to differ.
So that's the 6 horse Questioning at 8-1 in the market. Warren, your top sort of 4 selections here?
Before I give you the top 4 selections in this competitive race, I'm in Gareth's camp. You know, although you're going to get a much tighter version of Questioning this time, I'm in Gareth's camp. I also beg to differ. Sergey, interesting. You know, he's drawn out deep as Sergey, but last year his prep he ran 7th in the Golden Horse. Winner. Absolutely, he ran 7th in the Golden Horse behind Lucky Lad, and his next start was to win the Mercury. He ran 7th in the Golden Horse just the other day. And the next start is the Mercury, so read into that what you want. But he does have that awkward draw to deal with. But to answer your question, my selections, before we get everybody else's, I'm going 13 Tananga. I agree with Dees. Dees, you're quite right. You know, a couple of starts ago, we didn't know who Tananga was. And he certainly put his hand up in a big way. So I'm going to go with him. Tananga is my first choice from I Am Giant. Then the 11 horse Asia Pambili and 14 Sergey. But not with too much confidence.
Lucinda, the horse to beat in your opinion and the biggest danger to Cafe Culture?
I'm worried about Mia Moo, to be quite honest. I think she's a wonderful filly and pole position, purely on pole position. But I do feel I do have one of the highest rated horses in the race, and if he can overcome that draw, he's a huge runner.
Yeah, he is in fact the second highest in this race behind William Robertson. Dees, just to reiterate your numbers here?
Yeah, you know, 1, 6, 12 and 13 are my top 4 selections. You know, if I have to tip them in order of preference, it's tough, but I'm going to go 6, 12, 13 and 1. But 3 runners that I wouldn't be leaving out of the pick 6 are 4, 9 and 13.
Rachel, you and Lucinda in agreement here with Mia Moo, top choice?
Absolutely, I'm putting her in no order either. Mrs. Browning number 2, 4 I Am Giant, 11 Asia Pambile, and 14 Sergio.
Well,
He's such a consistent horse.
The ladies are hoping for the fairer sex to dominate here in race number 6. Gareth, before we wrap up race number 6, your numbers?
I think they've all got to beat the 4 horse, I Am Giant. And I like the insights that Lucinda has given us to Cafe Culture, and that this race has been his mission for the season, and she's obviously built her string around trying to win a Group 1 at the end of it, and she's coming into the race in great form. So big respect there for cafe culture. And William Robertson, he didn't have a good passage last time out, but I think it would be remiss of us not to give him a mention. He's a horse that certainly has the ability to.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4, 6, 11 and 13 in numerical order here in race number 6. I Am Giant. Let's see if we can do it for Hollywood Racing in this Mercury Sprint Grade 1 over 1,200 meters. Next up, race number 7. This is a Whirlpool Gold Cup Grade 3 over 3,200 meters, and we're going to go straight to it. King Pals, your favorite here at 15 to 10. Gareth, what you've done with this horse since he's been in the Western Cape, I mean, to try him over the staying trips of 2,500 where he was successful, beating Holding Thumbs, he's just held his own in the staying ranks this season.
Thank you, Raheel. Being by Duke of Marmalade out of a Galileo mare tells us that he's a horse that physically is supposed to strengthen with time and age, and it's wonderful to see that happening for him. So yeah, he's finding himself as he matures and grows stronger, and his whole disposition is improved as well. I mean, what you see in paper is obviously shining, but when you look at the individual himself, he's growing in confidence, and he's a happy horse. He's feeling like the king.
His last performance, it was just wow.
I know, it's just a horse and jockey gelling together, because we know that Simanga Kumalo rides for Gareth, and he's got on so well with this horse his last 2 runs. It was super impressive to see the manner in which he won the Gold Vase. This race is his to lose. That's the best way I could put it. He's the best stayer in the field on current form. Have we seen the best of him yet? I am actually going to say this, that we haven't. You'll see the best of him come the end of the month, because 3,200 meters, the way he just moved away from the opposition, won the race at the top of the straight, the fantastic form that Garrett's got him. Nice to hear about his well-being from Garrett as well. He's pulled a draw, that's a big plus. He takes on horses that can obviously reverse form over these staying distances, because it's pace dependent, and how the race will work out for you. But if you've got a horse that's got no stamina doubts, you can make a plan during the running of the race. And I think the right man for the job is Simanga Kumalo. Whatever happens with fractions, he'll have a plan A, B, up to plan Z with this horse, because he knows him like the back of his hand, and we know we're going to have a fit horse coming to the race. If I had to pose a question to Gareth, that race over 3,000 meters on Hollywoodbets Durbanville July Day is under a month away. It's a staying distance. Stamina comes into play. With the horses like this, I mean, that's no concern. It's under a month over a marathon trip to run them again.
It would be naive of me to say no, Dees. It's definitely something which has crossed my mind and which I have accommodated in his preparation to this race. So we've given him a little bit more attention as he's needed, with regards to rehydrating and just getting him back to his best. So certainly it takes a toll. At the moment I've been watching a lot of, and I cycle a lot, so I've been watching a lot of the Tour de France. Yeah. And those guys empty themselves out every single day, bar over 21 days. And it's just a good reminder that, you can bounce back and you need to. And he's an athlete that's at the peak of his wellness. So that helps. He's not an unfit horse, he's not an unsound horse. I had a few questions thrown to me privately, 1 or 2 messages during the rounds that he's got his niggles, and people were a bit concerned that he didn't come out of his win well. And just putting it out there for all the public, he didn't come out of the race like he went into the race. And that's my job as a trainer, to say, okay, where are we, assess the horse, and improvement was identified that it needed to be made. And the thing is, by identifying that issue, from all accounts that we can assess, we've actually got him better than what he went into the previous race. So there wasn't the issue bothering him, but having touched on what has surfaced and made improvements, all of our accounts at home tell us that we're dealing with a horse that's actually doing better than what he went into his last race.
Gareth, back at you. We've got a comment and, in fact, a question as well from Innocent, and he mentions, who does Gareth see as a massive threat to King Pals in the Gold Cup?
Well, I've got to take on face value Madison Valley. He won the Vase last year, so stamina is not his issue.
Yeah.
He ran 5th in in our premier race, the Hollywoodbets Durbanville, which was a great effort. He's got Gavin Larena in the irons, drawn 2. So that's horse that strikes me as the biggest threat.
Lucinda, race number 7, King Pals. Gareth has mentioned Madison Valley as perhaps the biggest threat to him. I mean, it takes a certain horse to win over these staying trips, and Dee's alluded to the fact that it's only been 22 days since that last win, but the manner in which he did it, I mean, it was effortless.
Yeah, well, after Gareth's previous statement, now I'm even more confident on him, knowing that it does take so much out of these horses. But you know, we as trainers, we're always trying to find the little things that make a big difference. It's not one big thing, and all these horses that I think are his dangers were all in the same race on on Hollywoodbets Durbanville Day. So yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be very hard to beat. His 2 biggest threats have to be Madison Valley, purely on his July run, and Holding Thumbs.
Rachel, if you were to have one ride in the race, barring King Pals, who would it be?
Well, I'd like to throw a bit of a pigeon in the works here, amongst the cats. Number 10, Bournemouth. Definitely stays. Quibera Raider. We know Alan Creeve knows how to travel them properly, and they obviously think a lot about this horse.
Yeah, Warren, what do you make of his chances? Personally, I give him no chance. I think that he hasn't taken on anything at this quality. He's a horse that I think he's got his work cut out. 58.5. He is a 9-time winner, but what has he beaten?
I hear what Rachel says, and from that perspective, you know, Aidan Creeve, he knows how to travel them. He knows how to, get them to stay. A horse from PE has won the Gold Cup. D's, can you remember the name? Serious, I think was the horse's name, was possibly going back many years. Yeah. So it doesn't happen often, but it has happened. But yeah, coming back to you, Rahil, Bournemouth has beaten Zatara Magic and Juan Carlos. What price would Zatara Magic and Juan Carlos be in this field? So that's the way I've looked at it. Back in the quartets, but not impossible. Going back to Holding Thumbs, he's going to be seeking revenge on King Pelez. It's unlikely. So Holding Thumbs, he looks to be a sort of exacta quartet trifecta type of horse. And then one other, just to add quickly, if I may, a horse that was very good to me on Hollywoodbets Durbanville Day, and the consolation was Navajo Nation. 10-1, maybe there's no value because some may think, well, he's not a 10-1 shot, he should be a 20-1 shot. But in his penultimate start, he went 3 lengths to immediate edge. At one stage, people were talking about immediate edge, winning the July.
I think you're holding thumbs for Navajo Nation.
I think I'm holding thumbs for Navajo Nation. Okay, well, Navajo Nation was good to be on July Day. I think he's got a big place chance, but I don't expect him to beat King Pels. King Pels is my firm first choice, my value Navajo Nation.
I just want to reinforce what Rachel is trying to say here. You can only beat what's put in front of you. Sure. We don't then have a look at the average ratings that the horse has been running against, and this is a 106. The horse stays, which Rachel mentions, and he's won 9 races. 3,200 meters, anywhere in the world he'll get it. Forget about Hollywoodbets Greyville on Sunday. With Richard Fourie up and a plan of action with regards to pace, etc., this is not a sprint trip. It's not the fastest horse from point A to point D. This is the comrades from Pietermaritzburg to Durban. That is what it is. And with the fastest horse generally wins a sprint trip. But when it comes to these staying races, if you got a horse that's a known stayer, he's beaten what's put in front of him. I've actually mentioned him because I've tipped him 4th. As my 4th choice. I agree with all the guys about 1 and 2 being the dangers to number 4, King Pelez. But if there's a joker of the pack, don't read into this horse's Quebeca form. We're raving and ranting about Alan Creeve and his 2-year-olds and how he's traveled them and how he's won races everywhere. And we suddenly see a horse called Bournemouth. Everyone was writing off his big shot in the Hollywoodbets Durbanville.
Rightly so.
Yeah, but the horse ran a blinder. He's beat more home than those who were in front of him. So I would say this horse, Bournemouth, Rachel could be onto something. For quartets and trifectas, a must.
Okay. You have to put Navajo Nation in then, if that's the case, because you don't like either of them. That team like Bournemouth.
What's that saying? They all start now, eh?
They all start at the same time. Absolutely, they're all going to be starting at the same time.
Lucinda, top 2, King Pels and...
It's so hard to discount Frank Robertson in these races and Sid Woodley. They've got 3 in here. Sure. And he was very unlucky last year not to have won it with Shoot the Rapids. He comes in now as a 4-year-old, 58 on his back. He had 54 last year. You have to include those sort of horses. So I wouldn't go top 2, Rahil. I'd go I think that's going to be very hard to beat King Pele's.
Sure.
But yeah, maybe go a bit wide after that. You've got to include Shoot the Rapids, Madison Valley, Holding Thumbs, and what was Frank's other one? Field Marshal. Yeah.
You know which other horse comes into play here? And not because of the horse, because he's been the most frustrating horse to follow. It could be the change of jockey. Future Swing with DeMello in town. I looked at that and I said, maybe this horse just needs something different, Rachel. I mean, that can often be the case with horses, can it? And this horse has been so frustrating to follow Future Swing that maybe the jockey could be the difference.
It could be, because Future Swing seems to be his own worst enemy.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Keegan, I think, has got his work cut out if they try and settle this horse in.
Hollywoodbets Scottsville, what is he doing?
Yeah, he takes a heck of a hold, this horse. And, you know, that last start over the 3,000, the Gold Bowl as well with Cabello, he tried to switch him off with no luck. He's got such a tricky mouth. So hopefully Keegan will have worked him at home. I've ridden him a couple of times and he's finicky to ride. So hopefully Keegan's got his hands on the day and he can make a plan. Because if they can settle this horse, he is very good. But that's the problem.
Rachel, your sort of few selections here?
Geez, well, I'm going to have to stick with number 2, Madison Valley.
Yeah.
Obviously number 4, King Pele's. Number 10, Bournemouth. And throwing in 11, Holding Thumbs. Just, he must be there or thereabouts.
Choose yourself.
I'm going to go 4, 1, 2, 10, and then I also agree with Rachel with number 11, Holding Thumbs. You know, the initial thought when I spoke to Sean Veal in the Western Cape was he was going to be the Gold Cup horse for him. Then the plan changed when they came to KZN. They thought they rushed him to try and qualify him for the Hollywoodbets Durbanville. It didn't materialize, and I see now Chad Little is on him for the Gold Cup. This would have, you know, if they planned it to be his mission, I think would have been a big runner here, but he may just come into the race on tired legs.
Yeah, could be. I think the exact is going to be King Pels from Holding Thumbs as they finish in the Gold Vase. Before we wrap up, Garrett, give us a mark out of 10.
Look, I don't want to be overly confident, but I'd give a 9.
Yeah, Warren, 9 out of 10, that's good enough for us.
Good enough. And you know, Gareth was speaking about Lucinda's horse Cafe Culture earlier on, and the way that, you know, she's executed into this race. I mean, and you've got to be commended for it. And Gareth, you and your team, the way that you've prepared and plotted his races for the final goal, win, lose or draw, you know, he's done fabulously. So well done. 9 out of 10 is good enough for me. Quickly before we wrap, I know Cape Eagle's a horse that you're fond of. And then the 8-year-old Nebraska, is that prayerless?
Yeah, I think he's got his work cut out on his last start. I think he's seriously going to need to improve. And these other horses are improving. He's an 8-year-old. I'm not sure how much more there is to come.
Cape Eagle?
Yeah, I think quartet chance at best, yeah. We're going to move along to race at number 8, and this is no doubt the best race on the day. It is the HKJC Champions Cup, Grade 1 over 1,800 meters. It is a field stacked with quality. Average rating of the race, 124. We've got the defending champ in the race. We've got the July winner, the Real Prince. As I mentioned, the defending champ, that being Dave the King. And then we've got a 3-year-old that is certainly looking to spoil the party in the form of Fire Attack. What a race we've got lined up for this year's renewal of the HKJC Champions Cup, 1,800 meters. Before we get into Dave the King, the Real Prince, what a training feat from Dean Cannemere to get him to stay 2,200 meters, and what a ride.
Yeah, you know, that is it. You ignore a champion trainer who knows how to get them ready for these big races, and full marks to the Cannemere yard, of course, Kaya Stables. On the way they went about planning the execution of their plan, because there were many doubters firstly about the distance and about the prep that the horse had, and he was spot on. The race was exciting, not for the followers of 8 of 18 who had to get beat, but if you went for the Real Prince, wow, that was a tremendous finish for you. Well done to Dean Cannemere. He goes 1,800 meters, no issue. In fact, you know, 2,200 meters suited him, we saw that, but I actually feel the 1,800 is going to suit him much better. He's got the pole position, he'll be waiting in the wings, he's got a serious turn of foot, and yeah, he's an obvious horse in the race. Dave the King, the reigning horse of the year, same prep that he took last year, exactly the same to be copy and paste, and then he's now going for this race that he's planning to go back to back. He's a relentless galloper. But you know, if I got a soft spot for a horse, Rachel's got a soft spot for her horse in the race, but I've got a soft spot for this horse, Gladiatorian. You know, just for Stuart Ferry and the way the horse has rewarded him and all the connections. It wasn't a bad run. In fact, it was a good run from him in the Hollywoodbets Durbanville in July. He's got a nice draw. He's also got a turn of foot. There are horses in this race that will enjoy the good pace that will possibly be set up front from number 4, Dave the King. So, you know, numbers 1, 2, and 4 are the horses that grab my attention. But over to you.
Jeez, well, you all know where I will begin. Unbiased opinion, that is. Yeah. You know, Said Again, having missed the July, I think will be running off fresh legs. He must run a great race. I think he's going to love Keegan de Mello. I think they're going to suit each other. They'll get on like a house on fire. But in saying that, you know, this is probably going to be one of the most exciting races we've had this season. There's only one thing that comes close to riding horses this good, and that's watching them compete against each other. The Real Prince blew me away with his July effort. You've got to make him a runner here again, drawn pole position. Dave the King, he says it for himself in his form book. I mean, if things go according to plan with the speed, I see, you know, Callan Murray rides him beautifully. He can settle him in, he can let him stride. He's made the horse look much easier to ride than I know he can be, because he is quite a strong, burly fella. But Callan Murray rides him beautifully. He must have a massive chance. And you can't forget a horse like number 8, Fire Attack. Yeah. You know, that's one of those I marked down. He's a good horse.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he showed lots of guts 2 starts back when beaten Royal Victory. Gareth, I want to get your thoughts on See It Again, because he's a horse that they decided to geld him. They then took him up to the Highveld for the Summer Cup, tried to get the most out of him. They then decided to go down to the Western Cape and now back here in KZN. I mean, how much does it take out of a horse? Because when you have a look at his form, it's not the type of form that would give you a lot of confidence to say that he's going to be up to the task at hand of beating the likes of Dave the King, the Real Prince, Gladiatorian, even Royal Victory.
Raheel, I don't think we've seen the end of this horse. I say that because I saw him canter down to the start for the Drill Hall, his season debut here in KZN, and he looked magnificent. Yeah.
Wow, that day he took my breath away.
And he ran accordingly. That was a 1,400 meter race, and he really put up his hand. All but won the race by a nose. He had excuses in the Gold Challenge the time before that, and obviously, you know, things didn't go his way going into the big one. So I haven't written him off. He's got it in him, and the spark, I saw it. We all saw it in that 1,400 meter race, which was simply a comeback run. So I think he deserves respect.
Lucinda, a horse like Montaigne, who you would be familiar with from Cape Town, Pete Botha has done a terrific job with this horse. He's run to 8 on 18 in the Met. That was a cracking performance. His 2 starts in KZN, 1 run he was in disgrace, and then last time out, excuses. Do you give him any type of chance in this contest?
Look, I was chatting to Pete the other day. The horse hasn't really settled into... never really settled well at his Summerveld. He's a very highly strung horse. Very glad to see Tristan's on him now. He's been helping Pete out at home and getting to know the horse. I know him from Milnerton. He's quite a lot to work with in the mornings. So hats off to them. Hopefully they've got it right. And I think if Pete's got him back to the Montaigne in Cape Town, that was in the summer season, he's definitely one to include as a roughie at the back end of your quartets.
Warren, Lucinda's final statement gives you lots of confidence, I'm sure.
Well, I was just going to say, finally, you agree with me on a value horse, because...
I'm not sure I agree. Well,
the fact that you raised Montaigne's name, it gave me a bit of hope and excitement. But jokes aside, you know, he's definitely not my first choice. Yeah. Dave the King is, from the Real Prince and Gladiatorian. But, you know, having... also chatted to Pete Botha, and this horse's target has been this race. And yeah, it's sad that he's had a bit of a tough time with Montaigne up at Summerveld, but knowing Pete, the professional that he is, he'll be bringing this horse into the race with, you know, fit and well and as good as he can get. It's a draw strike. He gets a much kinder draw this time. He's been drawn out deep in his last 2 or 3 or 4 starts. So yeah, back end of quartets for me. I'm certainly including Montaigne, but for me, they're all going to have to beat Dave the King. He's big, he's a galloper, he's in good order, lots to like about him.
We've got a comment from Neelan Naidu. He says the King will beat the Prince. Do you see it that way?
He's the horse to beat. I mean, as I mentioned at the top of this race, a horse that just comes well in these type of races.
Yeah.
It's the Gold Challenge was a tremendous win considering the challenge that he got from Oriental Charm. And 1800 meters, he's the defending champion of the race. He's no doubt the horse to beat. But it is part of the pick six. And it's very difficult unless you're going to go all in with the horse. And you're going to say, I'm taking my stance in this race and going with Dave the King. But I would suspect that for exotic players, this race, most and the majority will be playing to beat this horse. I'll be one of them as well.
Looking to beat the defending champ. Rachel, we've got a comment here from Mervyn Padiachi. He says, See It Again will come good at the end of the month, and he believes that he'll win the Champions Cup. Any confidence that you can give the guys about See It Again?
I'm always confident in See It Again. He is a proper racehorse, and the teamwork that's gone into him, getting him ready for this race. Hopefully, Mervyn is right.
He's been able to overcome that minor setback.
Yeah, I'm happy with him, and we see what the day brings. But so far, it all seems set, and I just pray he can do the team proudly for all the effort that everyone's put in.
Well, Rachel's got a close connection with See It Again, and she'll be hoping that he can land the spoils. Lucinda, your sort of few numbers that the guys could possibly include?
I just wanted to touch on Rahil. I think we've been absolutely spoilt with our Grade 1 races this season in KZN. The standard has just blown me away.
Yeah.
And on that statement, you have to include quite a few horses here. The Real Prince, Gladiatorian, See It Again, Dave the King. And I mean Fire Attack too. So I wouldn't go just all on Dave the King here. I think he's an absolute champion, but I think he's up against quite a field.
Gareth, this 3-year-old, can he beat the older horses?
I think it would be foolish to say no. If he doesn't win, he's always right there. So, yeah, got to have the utmost respect for him.
Yep, that is race number 8, a very, very high-class competitive Champions Cup for 2025. Certainly looking forward to the coverage. Warren, just to wrap up, Dave the King, what type of mark would you give him out of 10?
Dave the King.
I mean, you did see him this morning as
yeah,
well.
absolutely. I had the privilege again of taking some of the Hong Kong delegates. Of course, we know Hong Kong are behind this meeting with all the other sponsors, and they were up at Summerfeld this morning. And yeah, we had the privilege of seeing Dave the King, and he looks absolutely fantastic. Talking to the entire team, they are upbeat, and they're expecting I would have to say a winning performance. I mean, they'd be remiss not to. It's favourite. Just quickly before we wrap up the Whirlpool Gold Cup, wouldn't it be a royal victory if Pierre Stradum could buy out of his career? Just quickly around the table. I mean, I know it's 477 days since his last win, but royal victory is royal victory.
Yeah, absolutely, and 5-time winner. He's done very, very well up in the Highveld. He's got 2 wins here in KZN. Let's see how it goes. Gareth, just touching on Pierre briefly, set to retire at the end of the season. He's ridden winners for you. Lost to racing?
Certainly, and his legacy will live on. And just working with champions as he is, you take little bits and pieces with you. Even when they leave, you're going to still apply and remember little pearls which you receive from them. And we'll hope to imitate his strengths where we can going forward as we remember him.
These striker set to hang up his boots?
No, it's just about there's only so many steps you have in your legs.
Yeah.
So there's only so many rides that you have in your body. And that's what I would say. And the way he's managed himself in the latter part of his career, he's done an excellent job to go this long to get to the mark that he did. And your body tells you that you've had enough, and that is it. And you see Andrew Fortune, it's not about just riding horses in races. It's about trying to get quality rides to have winners, because again, there's only so many rides that you have when you reach a certain age. Rachel, she had her first injury. She'll tell you that it's all about fitness and how your body heals, because you come back so quick. I mean, it's unbelievable that you were riding the other day, considering that you had this big boot on you not too long ago. I couldn't believe it that when I saw your name carded. It just shows, the fitness and the diet and whatever you're doing behind the scenes to be racing fit as a jockey which Pierre has done throughout his career with all the injuries and everything that he has. Thank you, Pierre, for the wonderful memories that you've given us, everlasting memories throughout your career. And as Garrett says, yeah, it is a loss, but you know what, it is time, and your body talks to you, doesn't it? And your body was telling you, I'm back riding now.
Well, exactly. Yeah, you know, it's one of those things, I suppose, when I'm old, I'll be able to say, you know, I used to ride against Pierre Stradum.
Sure.
Yeah, what a legend of the game. It's been fantastic for me as, you know, one of the younger generations to have sort of brushed shoulders and ridden in races with him. And in many years to come, he'll still be heralded as a legend. So I hope he has a wonderful time in his retirement, and he'll be, I'm sure, following racing.
Rachel, Dees, Gareth, Lucinda, thank you very much for your time. Looking forward to the race meeting on Sunday at Hollywoodbets Greyville. We've taken you through the 4 Grade 1s and the 1 Grade 3 being the Gold Cup itself. That is race number 7, but no doubt the race of the day is race number 8. Warren, set to be a cracking race meeting.
Well, we're going to have to try and sleep now between the day that we record this show to Sunday, because it's exciting, and it's for all racing fans and racing lovers. We're sick for the game, all of us around the table, and yeah, it's exciting. We certainly look forward to it. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be just a wonderful racing, and just may everybody be safe and may everybody be sound, and what a close to champion season.
Yep, that is it for this Whirlpool Gold Cup race meeting roundtable discussion.